Your favorite opinionated, legendary Miroslav, and here with us, the infamous and famous Alexander Moore. And yes, we have opinions. That's the title of the episode again. And Alex, for those who don't know yet, Alex is a professional magician.
Yes.
Not that he does tricks.
No.
He's not here to entertain you like the blonde guy from Las Vegas trying to make a airplane disappear, which is all fake. No, no, no. Alex does the real shit. And right before we started recording, he has a new course coming up. Which, if you're listening to this in hindsight, then it'll be live already. If you're listening to this live right now and watching us, then it'll be here Friday. And one of the parts, by the way, I'm currently participating in intensive dog training. Like I got this huge fucking course, several thousands dollars, and it's like I don't know. The first module is 129 videos, and I'm not even, and it's like 6 hours. The first module, so I'm not even through with the first one. But I love how, and you'll understand why I'm bringing this up. How like it doesn't matter which industry you're in. Like all of the industries are. This is the thing, and then you repeat it a lot.
I mean, repetition is how everything is built.
How I was discussing this in my own coaching group. Like, there's something in my brain that perceives repetition to be boring, but it's not in my psyche because, like, I love repeating stuff. I love doing again. Love my workouts. Doesn't have to be exciting. I love doing the things that I learned. So I don't know where it's coming from. Is that internet brain rot?
I don't know. I think it depends on a personality trait. Like, are you, because like for me sometimes the repetition's boring and sometimes it's not. But for me it depends on like where I am in the process of learning the skill or building the project, right? Like if I already have a level of success, then learning more via repetition is fine because I already have the thing, so I'm just getting more of the thing. And if it's brand new, then it's fine because it's new and exciting. It's when it's in that middle stage, when I haven't had the success yet, that I'm like, because then you're doing your cost benefit analysis of like, am I actually going to have the thing? Am I going to do that? Because I think we've all had experiences of trying something and just not working, like it just not being particularly successful.
Well, yeah, and then you find yourself at that spot where you don't have any reference or data to figure out whether what you're doing is incorrect or the wrong form or wrong shape, or if it's totally just the wrong path for you. And you're just like, huh.
That is the sound you make. At least that's the sound I make.
What sound do you make?
Huh.
or whether it's just like your dopamine brain being like, this is boring, which is then it just means keep going. Like it's one of those, I don't know. Can someone with more importance and practice please come look at this and just judge me and tell me, yes, you're doing well, we keep going. Oh, by the way, that's why I love fucking mentors. Like I've had this with my business, right? And I'm like, I don't know shit about fuck. Am I doing the right thing? So I hired a mentor that makes 10 million more time than me. And she's like, you're on the right path. Keep going. I'm like, say less.
No, that is the thing. If you just have those goalposts or those little check-ins with somebody, but that's also like, it's kind of funny when I think about that too, because there's a lot of mostly people who are very unsuccessful at life deriding, coaching industries and mentorship and everything, being like, oh, it's all a scam, it's all this. And no matter what you do, it does not matter what you teach. If you are a musician who's teaching musicians, if you're an occultist, if you're a fitness person, everyone will follow with, oh, why would you pay for material you can learn for free? And on its face, that's not a bad question, because there's a lot of stuff you can learn for free, and you should be able to be autodidactic. Like you should be able to teach yourself stuff. Absolutely. But I do think that once you reach a certain point, you're absolutely right. I mean, you kind of are just floundering out there. You don't have anything to bounce anything off of. And like, yeah, you can learn stuff in a vacuum, but the problem is you'll eventually hit a wall and you won't know you've hit it. You know what I mean? You'll because you won't have anyone to point out like, hey, maybe do this thing a little different, which could also save you time. Like it's that fine balance, right?
Well, the reason why I'm very like, for one, if you are in a place where you don't have the resources of financial or whatever space to hire someone, I'd rather have you learn shit on your own and like fucking fail miserably. However, the problem that I find with when you get to a spot, even if it's like one group lesson a month or some version, like, you know, the bare minimum, is when you have a professional eye on it, is that it saves you a lot of time for one in your learning curve. But also, I remember when I started doing archery and I instantly started with like private lessons, because the unlearning of bad form is gonna take so much fucking time and mental effort mostly. That like, if you can't avoid that, that's fucking time travel.
Oh no, for sure. Well, especially when it comes to physical skills like that. Like I think there's a delineation between like if you're doing something creative like art or writing or even music, there's a lot of wiggle room between like, is this the right way to do it or not? Because there isn't necessarily unless you're like classically trained, for example, in music, there's not like a perfectly right way. But when it comes to a physical skill, like a martial art or something, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know anyone who learned how to drive from a book. You could, in theory, you know, like, but it's a question of time, right? It's like, how much time do you have? And like, we talk about this a lot. The more successful you are, the more you realize that all you're doing is buying time. Right? So like,
it's not get more money. That's just a byproduct.
Yeah.
It's how you get to spend your time.
Exactly. And the same thing with learning stuff. I mean, like, I'm really good at teaching myself stuff. Before I had money, I taught myself a whole lot, everything that I need to have everything I have now. But now if I want to learn something, I will in fact pay someone to do it. You know, like, you know, you go to the gym, pay, you know, I mean, even if you only pay a trainer like once in a while to like observe your form or tell you what workout to do, it's better than, you know,
figuring it out on your own.
Yeah, which I mean, you could. Like I said, it's all about time. It's all about like, you know, how much time, and also there's the accountability factor too. Like if you have someone who's teaching you on a regular basis, you're more likely to stick with it because they're going to be like, "What the fuck are you paying me for? Like you didn't do the thing, you didn't practice this week or whatever it is, you know."
Yeah, I think it's very important for like there's a partial self-awareness in it, because I love impressing the teacher. I know that for myself, right? So it's not even because like accountability I don't have a problem with, but I love like making the eyes of a teacher go, oh shit, you really fucking practiced. I'm like,
there you go. I can see the appeal in that.
So like knowing that, that's why like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go for the best teacher. Try, and again, it's not even if so, because I'm not doing it to impress them, but that again, it becomes a byproduct that makes me feel good, right? So trying to impress others, the teacher in this case, means that I have to completely level up. Fuck yeah, everyone's winning in this bitch.
See, for me, it's a lot about like just the speed at learning things. Like I've always had like the Dungeons and Dragons outlook on life. Like it's a stat sheet. Everything is a stat sheet, and you're learning new skills and filling your points in new things and getting cool new items and armor and shit. That's just because, you know.
Because you're a nerd.
I fucking am. I absolutely am. Unapologetically forever. But it's all about like, you know, getting better at the thing you want to do. Like for me, if I see something I want to do, I fixate on it a little bit. I'm like, no, I gotta have it. I gotta have that thing. I gotta collect that thing for my cool collection of weird shit I do. And and sometimes it makes sense in context of the other stuff I do, and sometimes it absolutely doesn't. But like, I gotta do it, and I'll look at something and be like, yeah, I really want to do that, but I want to be good at it. Because for me, and it's not even like for me, it's about like my view of myself as a person who's good at things. I think for me, a big part of being alive is being good at stuff. Like I just again, like in a vacuum for myself, I like looking into myself and seeing all the things that I can do reasonably well or pretty well, and they're like treasures for me, like these skills. So, that's what it is for me. I just want more cool skills.
Do you? Oh, now you have me thinking. For one, I love that analogy, like the treasure of self. Do you? Is there any aspect in your life where, or hobbies or things you do that you don't care if you're bad at it or don't care for being good at it?
Actually, yeah, photography. Right, but it's kind of funny because I'm actually not bad at it. Like I'm not amazing, but I'm I'm not terrible at it. But that is something that I don't have a great deal of
Of
care whether.
talent for?
No, actually, I'm not bad at it really. 'Cause I took a class in high school years and years ago, but
Mhm.
also like my brother is a decent at photography. My mother was good at photography. My father was good at photography.
Well,
So
so
like,
it's in the lineage.
sort of, yeah. And so like
Mm.
if anytime I decide to fuck with it a little bit, I'm a little rusty if I go back to it, but then I get decent in composition and whatnot pretty quickly. I just don't care one way or the other. Like it's something I can
I
pick
see.
up and put down. There's some things though that I've also been doing for so long that I'm baseline good at, like guitar playing, for instance. Even if I put it down for a long time, you hand me a guitar, I can play it because I've done it
Mm-hmm.
for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But that like that's a source of personal pride, but also satisfaction. Like if nothing's going right for me that day, the things I'm good at, I can stop what's going on, go fuck around with something I'm good at for like 20 minutes and feel like and it gives me that dopamine rush of like, you can do it. You can do the hard thing. Just look how good you are at these other things.
Yeah. So basically, you're still good at photography. So you do not have anything that you're not good at that you're doing.
Well, no, I mean, so,
You're
okay, now,
maybe not excellent at it.
I'm trying to think about something like that I'm not. Okay, Libre knife fighting. I'm 37 years old.
Wait, what is that?
It's a knife based martial art that, because the thing is like, so when you get to a certain age as a man, so I have this theory that everyone, man or woman, they have the inner retard. So the inner retard is the thing that tells you like, you can fight that cop, you're fine, you'll be fine.
Oh my god, this is so fucking good.
And again, the inner retard is also like, you should buy a boat. Like you're like, oh, you live in like a landlocked area. They're like, buy a boat. Like you ever been in like a wealthy suburb and you see like a boat in a 4x4 in a driveway that's clearly never been used? The inner retard did that. So the point is, the inner retard, though, it changes and sometimes it softens over time. So when you reach your late 30s as a man, anyway, hopefully you realize you can't fight like you could when you were younger, if you were like into kickboxing or whatever. But you're still like, martial arts are cool, and because I'm a giant nerd, weapons are cool. So the thing about Libre is it's just murder aerobics. Like it's like, yeah, this is a martial art that's not even going to pretend like it isn't about killing people. But I'm not me 10 years ago. You know what I mean? I'm not me at 21 years old in terms of like physical fitness or, speed or that like pure athletic youth that a person had. I'm just not. So I will not be when you're doing a martial art of any kind in your late 30s and you train with a man in his early 20s, you realize just where you aren't and never will be again.
I have
And
this I have that in the horse industry where I see the young girls just like jump on the horse
yeah,
and fall off, and I'd be like, okay, I would have to recover for 3 days.
yeah, no, youth, man, it can bounce you back, and it's kind of funny because there's of course very spiritual techniques that you can do to enhance yourself, but even then, like you just see, and I've talked to other martial arts people, like people who are more serious about it. like for example, I have a friend who's a jiu-jitsu coach. I mean, like all the respect to jiu-jitsu people, that is something I have no desire to do. Grappling, I never had any any yearning for it. But the thing is, I've talked to people again who teach it for a living, who were like, sometimes I'll be rolling with a younger student and I'll know that I'm gonna lose, not because I'm not better than them, but because they're so much younger, stronger, faster, resilient than me. that like there's nothing. So that's actually an example of something that like as you age, even if you're getting better, you're getting worse in some ways. You have to adjust your approach, which is one of the reasons why a thing like weapons-based training, whether it's Libre, Eskrima, Kali, Shiv Works, whatever, it's good because you're like, I'm just going to stab you to death. I don't need to be a better fighter than you. I'm just going to stab you to death, because it's kind of like, I actually bring this up a lot with magic students, but also with people where it's like, when I was a kid, if you had a high school bully, you took a few kickboxing classes and you beat the shit out of him, or you did it anyway. Now your high school bully is training MMA on the weekends. Like, your high school bully will beat the shit out of you because he fights better than you. Similarly in magic, there used to be this idea that like, oh, nobody throws curses for real, and people always did. But now it's like the information is much more easily accessible, so you need to be better with your defense, because if you're even a public figure who pisses people off, which you and I would know nothing about, because we are blameless angel babies who've never said anything that I've said anybody ever, But if you are such a person, a naughty no-no, if you were, then the people get upset. They'll make time to try to fuck with you on pretty much any level. So you have to be ruthless with your approach. I don't know if you ever read the novel Ender's Game, but there's a point where in the book,
what's it called?
Ender's Game. It's a sci-fi novel, but the point is, at one point in the book, this kid beats the shit out of another kid so bad that he cripples him. And when he's asked why that happened, he said, I had to win this fight and every subsequent fight this kid could ever bring to me. And that's the thing. When you lack the physicality to just like win, you have to be more ruthless. You have to be as if you've ever been around violent people, you know that sometimes it's not the stronger one that wins, it's the crazier one.
Oh, can I just hop in quickly? So, like, for one, today I'm wearing "Give Violence a Chance."
Oh yes.
What you're saying, right? Look, I'm not. Well, clearly I'm not a girly girl, but like back when I was younger, specifically, like even till my mid-20s, I was one of those girls that ended up in physical fist fights, also with men. And I remember this one time. So like I went to school shortly, and I was the only white kid. I was the only white kid and the only white girl in a fucking ghetto school. And this one chick, I don't know, she was angry at me. I don't fucking know. Back then, we didn't have like the racial tensions that America has right now. But this chick decided to be angry at me, and I'm like, I'm fucking ready to go. I'm like, I'm cranky today. I don't know. Probably had an argument with my mom or something. I'm fucking ready to go. I'm like 19 by the way. Like, and I see she does something like her sleeves up. And I see that she had carved with a razor just fresh names of a guy all over her. And I'm like, sometimes you just have to sit out and just acknowledge that another person is just more crazy than you.
It's so real. But that's honestly true in so many things too. Like in business, for example. Like I'm in several groups, but this one men's entrepreneur group that I'm in, which is really helpful for business stuff. I got a lot of really cool advice. There was this conversation a lot of the guys were having, and I'm not going to name names, obviously, but the conversation turned to like bankruptcy, like people who'd filed for bankruptcy, and about like how everyone who did it was like best decision I ever made. Like it gave me a fresh start, it let me restart it, and the only thing that held them back from doing it was shame. And so sometimes, you need to find that perfect middle ground between crazy enough where you court the inner retard, where the inner retard works for you. Because if the inner retard becomes the outer retard, you've lost. You know what I mean? Like when that happens, you've lost. But you got to make it work for you, right? And be able to break the rules, but not go over the edge. Because the number of, for example, business owners I know who are like, oh yeah, I was 5 years late on my taxes. Fuck it. But I figured it out. And you're like, what the fuck you mean you were 5 years late on your taxes? So like, yeah, I just didn't pay them for 5 years. And you're like, what do you mean? Because when I was just young and having my own business, I'm like, well, how do you do that? They're like, you just don't do it. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you think happens? And I'm like, I don't know. Do they call you? And they're like, yeah, they call you. They send letters, and you ignore them until you can't. Until they give you the mean letter where it's like, we're serious now. And then you go, I'm sorry, IRS. I'm really sorry. And you go on a payment plan and you pay it off really fast so you don't owe extra. And that's how you do it. And I'm like, well, why would you not pay taxes for 5 years? And they're like, because I'm building a fucking business and I couldn't afford it. Like, some of them are pretty honest. They're like, I couldn't. Fuck. It wasn't even some libertarian like fuck the IRS, which like fuck the IRS for sure. But it wasn't even one of those like, oh, I'm so cool. It was like, especially early on, building their business with their overhead and everything. They're like, I couldn't afford it. I needed every penny. I needed every penny I could do. And this one guy was just straight up like, I just wanted every penny I could have, and I wanted to see what would happen. That's where you're like riding the line a little bit on the inner retard. Because he's like, I don't know, I've never tried that. I don't know what happens. But it's funny because if you talk to these kind of people, and I've realized this too, as the world continues to go the way it's going, there are fewer avenues for genuinely good lives playing by the rules. Like, if you become a doc, it used to be like, oh, I'll become a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. And even then, even that is getting a little bit weird and hairy depending on things. Like the trades, for example, will still probably give you a good life, but you don't even know for sure. Like nothing is cut and dry. It hasn't been for a long time, if we're being honest. But very, very few things are as cut and dry. So you have to be a little bit crazy to do well, I think.
Oh, no disagreement there. What I would like to know from you as a professional sorcerer. So I'm going to give a personal example. I was hoping you would somehow, I didn't know, but I was hoping we could talk about this one way or another. And you just weaved it in. For one, by the way, in another timeline, you actually are my fucking neighbor. Like, we are the fucking best homegirl and homeboy, and we would fucking wreak havoc.
Yeah, I can see that.
So in another timeline, you are not fucking attached to your fucking East Coast or whatever, like, other side of America, and you just come with us, live the fucking redneck rich lifestyle. But maybe I'll make that happen one day. Who knows? Anyway.
Hey, it's possible. Maybe I'll get chickens and I'll name one of them Eustace, and it'll be my best friend.
Or you fall in love with like someone like super who just like is like, I think we should do that. And you're like, you know what? I know the best neighbors, and y'all come live here.
I mean, if I was gonna do it, I have no attachment to the idea of living as rural as you. That is not. I've worked on a farm once just to see what it was like, and I didn't like it. Like, I'm not one of those people, and it's kind of funny because I have had recently a client who was like talking to me. He's like, I really think I want to like go homesteading and like live off grid. And I was like, I'm already here to tell you, you probably can't do it. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I'm not saying I can do it. Very few people can. And a lot of people try and realize it's hard as fuck. Like, it's not you are choosing hard mode.
Expensive.
I'm sure.
Look, this is the thing. People have this, like, and this is brain rot idea online, right? Where like, fuck capitalism. I just want to live off the land on a homestead, frolic in the grass. Our fucking maniacs cost what, $130,000? That's one machine. The feed for my animals costs $600 a month. That's just the feed. Like, I have no idea where these people get, like, it's like, like an escape of capitalism. Like, this life's fucking expensive as fuck. Way more than any of, like, jet setting I've done before. Anyway, so where I wanted to go. So I made a post about, asking the online world about the puppies that are coming, right? My wolf and my Malinois are having puppies, which probably is going to make like a black hole in the universe, because I'm not sure if those forces, are meant to be together. We wanted puppies. We just didn't want them yet. But again, these things happen earlier. That's fine. And I went viral on several platforms, and like the amount of death threats and you're unethical and, and even more abstract threats. Like, I hope no one gets your puppies and you're stuck with all of them, which I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess.
Okay.
how much, and this is where I'm going because you touched on the curses thing. How much do we people who not even intentionally have big opinions, just kind of exist like I do, do we actually have to worry about these real curses? What are we talking about? And I know the answer, but I want the people to.
I mean, honestly, the answer is yes, depending on what segments of the population you piss off. And really, it's how many, because like your average person who decides to be angry online about things instead of like living life, they're probably not terribly good at this. Although there's always that one who is and makes time and will do that. Like it definitely happens, and you'll see that for a while. But it's the ones you got to really worry about are the ones who will like mail a cursed object to your property or find where you live, and like, because again, I mean, Google Maps, Google Street View, you can print out a picture of someone's home and then get them through that. Like these are all very real things. I mean, doxing isn't just bad on its face. I mean, it can be used for this as well. But I mean, yeah, a lot of it. And then you got people who will get together in groups and try to fuck with you like this. I mean, it's really a consistent problem.
So my theory has always been, and I'd love your pushback on it. My theory has always been, if you are not willing, not willing, if you do not have what it takes to, for one, say things to my face in person, or elicit some kind of actual violence on me in person, then I'm saying your curses are shit.
In 80% of the cases, I'd agree with you, but it depends on what they're doing. Like if they're doing big enough magic, like complicated grimoire magic with the fasting and everything, it doesn't, like they're not doing anything. They're calling something else to do it for them.
Sure.
Like in that case, it doesn't matter what they've done or haven't done. If it's coming directly from them, then yes. If they have never been in a fight before, if they've never hurt anybody, if they've never, it's kind of one of the reasons why like some of the people who are the best at like just leaving their body and hurting you are also the kind of people who will just fucking stab you. Like, because it's not so different. But again, if you can call something up to work for you, then it does not matter what you have or haven't done. If you're following the rules and the protocol and the recipe correctly, which is not going to be easy to do.
Well, that's my thing. Like, I just don't see that people who, in this specific case, right, or like in most cases where people have opinions, like that online people who are dysregulated just by someone existing, that they have the skills, the discipline, or like perseverance to just like do what it takes or build up the skills or like execute on that. Because I expect people to have these skills, to have a more emotional maturity, and mostly like spend their time differently also.
So normally, yes, like absolutely normally, yes. But there are, especially in today's world, there are just more exceptions. Like, for example, using an extreme version, Jeffrey Dahmer was a real person. Jeffrey Dahmer with magic is a real person. Like that fucking person will look for a reason just to hurt somebody, anybody, doesn't matter. But their art is harming people. Mm-hmm. Like they are diligent and dedicated to that thing, and they'll follow these professionally offended people and go, who do you hate? Because they just give you targets, hard targets. And these people want harder and harder targets. They want to practice. They want to get better. So those people, very rare, but they do exist. Those people are going to be the most genuine concern because they have they don't care who they're throwing at. They just want to hurt someone.
And it's again it's for sport. It's like the fox here killing chickens for sport.
Right. Now one layer down, there are rare examples, but there are some like very left-leaning, professionally offended types of people who just are a little bit higher caliber in their focus. They usually have a justice complex where they're like, they convince themselves that they're defending a group of people or groups of people that are weaker than them, and they will be the ones that will actually take the time because they tie it to a sense of justice, which fuels them to go ahead. Now, I will say you do see this on the other side of the political aisle, sure, spiritually as well. But at the same time, like those people, rare though they are, they're the ones who will be the people who will actually go out of their way. Now, that said, in my experience, they actually don't tend to fuck with people who also do this because they don't want to get in a fight with someone who can fight back. They want to kind of like sucker punch you and run away.
Right.
But they'll still be able to throw a good right cross with that sucker punch. You know what I mean? Like they'll be able to. And then one layer down is when you get a group of them that all suck.
Sure. Well, that's kind of the energetic behind like cancellation culture, right? That's an energetic woof that like kind of comes at you and at least like disturbs some of your life or energy or day, right? What I'm wondering, and I don't have any opinions on this myself, so I notice I'm super blank on this. Like I know people that operate from some kind of like justice complex are the absolute worst. They're absolutely annoying. Because they overlook so many aspects and then they bypass their original justification. So I'm going to take it personally, right? So yesterday, make a post about my puppies and people come at me for it's unethical. You're a danger to animals and humans. I'm like, yeah, like you can look at all my animals that are very endangered. And then again, then it escalates to, I hope you die, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm like, you came in. So again, let's just play this out. You came in with the concern about my animals. Let's say you wanted me dead. What's going to happen to my animals? Again, because that was the concern, right?
Sure, yeah.
So to what extent do, I guess, let's say the external forces or the external beings be like, well, that's not really how justice works? Or do they require transparency? Like, hey, I'm willing to do this, but let's not pretend it's for a greater good.
It depends on what being you're talking about. Just like people, they all have opinions. I mean, so to use broad terms, if you go to something that's like an angel or something that's much higher, they'll just simply tell you no if they don't agree with what you're doing. Mm-hmm. They'll be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Or they'll try to do it. It'll be kind of like, someone who looks at you kind of like a retarded child. Like, I'll give you kind of what you asked for, but in the most wholesome way and the best for you because I don't really respect you. There are some that are basically mercenaries. They're cash and carry. I mean, they're like, fuck it. I don't care what you want me to do. Are you giving me the thing? Cool. You're giving me whatever you want, but they'll do it to the letter of what you said. They're very legalistic in that sense. They're like, again, like some of them just don't give a shit.
But the latter also, if I'm understanding it correctly, those are also, you can outbid them because they come to you and like, hey, and I'm using very fucking simplistic, I've been paid 50 blood vessels to do this thing, and you're like, but how does 100 sound?
No, you can absolutely just buy them off. Or scare them off. I mean, because if you have just bigger and beefier protections, for example, because it's kind of like if someone goes, hey, go beat up, that person, here's $50. And they go, cool. They go over and that person has like an AR-15 and they're just chilling. They're like, I'm not actually going to do that. And they'll come back and be like, I tried, boss, but, didn't work. Sometimes that'll happen, and sometimes, even some more mercenary spirits will look at it and go, yeah, I can't do that. I'm not going to. Because some of them do have a sort of honor code where they won't say they're going to do something unless they're going to try. Mm-hmm. So some of them will be like, no, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. Or I don't believe I can, or that's dangerous, or they're too well protected. And there are some that do have like an ethical, like, I don't respect you or your kind, so I won't work with you no matter how much you give me. But it's much like people that way. There are just all sorts of people. And then there are some that'll even be like, oh, I'll do this for you, but there will come a day when I need you to do something for me. And that may be now, that may be in 10 years, that may be in 20 years, and then they will show up in your dreams and be like, you must build a statue of me and put it on your property, you know what I mean? Like, or something.
But that would then be the closest to like selling your soul, right? To a devil.
Yeah, which you shouldn't do. I mean, you just shouldn't do that. Like that's a bad idea.
god, you're so fucking dry.
Just shouldn't do that. It's not wise.
Oh my god, that's the fucking title of this episode. We have opinions. You shouldn't sell your soul. Oh my god, this better AI from this program. You better turn that automatically into a fucking snippet. Is that like selling your soul to the devil? Yeah, you shouldn't do that. Oh, that's the most nerd holistic shit I've ever heard.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you oughtn't to do that.
Also, please go down, like, finish what you were thinking, and then go down, like, why you shouldn't do that. Go ahead.
No, I mean that's basically it. But why you shouldn't do that is because, one, you don't have to. That's like, trading your house for a sandwich, and like you don't need to do that kind of thing. You could there's protocols and systems and structures and techniques all the way down to make sure you don't have to do that kind of thing. It's the people who will read a 15-page instruction manual on how to call these spirits and be like, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to do it my way. This is not a new phenomenon either. This has been documented for hundreds of years. Probably it happened way before that, but we know for a fact it's been documented for at least since the 1500s in Western world, at least, where people have been like, cool, I'm not going to do it the way it's written or the way other people are doing it. I'm going to be a diabolist, and I'm going to give of myself to these creatures. And because a lot of the proper way to do it is you call them and you're like, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Like, I can give you something for this, or I can just beat the shit out of you until you agree to do it. And a lot of the time, if you do it correctly and you call them that way, they're like, hell, he has all this stuff and he has the thing that hurts me and he has the thing that makes me do this. I'm just going to do what I'm being asked to do because, these structures, which again, the system that works with this, the skeleton of how this is done, is found in pretty much every culture across the globe, which, again, one of the many reasons why every time I see someone who's skeptical about magic being real, I'm like, Christ, you're an idiot. But regardless, everybody had the same idea over the course of human history, and it's somehow wrong. Wonderful. Brilliant.
Do you know the song My Darling from Eminem?
No.
Okay, so after this episode, I'm gonna need you to listen to it. What he does is he talks to the devil, and they give the devil a different voice, and he like wants to escape. He's like, I'm done with it. He's like, no, I have your soul. Remember that night when you were crying on the floor, saying and begging that you would do anything? That's when I started giving you stuff, and now I'm collecting. And in the song, he's trying to like escape from it, and he shoots himself, and then the devil goes, ha ha ha, I'm not in the mirror, I'm inside you, let me guide you. Or like, again, it's such a good thing. So to what extent is selling your soul to a devil without participating in occult rituals real?
So honestly, that depends on like where they are. So remember, all these things have a physical existence, even if they're not like in a physical body. They are in a point in space and time at any given time. That's why when you summon them, you're like, you're here now. You can, but this is, again, this kind of goes back to helplessness versus agency, right? Like the whole, like, you beg God or anything, when you're like, anything, please, anything, help me. Like, I don't know if you've seen the recent Nosferatu remake that came out. Wonderful movie, but at the very beginning, this woman is like, she's calling out to be loved by anything, and then something horrible shows up, and you're like, well, yeah, I mean, shit, you didn't specify. That's one of the reasons why, a lot of these old manuals, or even like newer techniques and whatnot, they're very big on like be specific, but also like have power, have all these amulets that you make to keep you safe. Go to the negotiating table with a lot of leverage. And like, I suppose a person could. I'm not going to lie, I've never actually seen that happen. I've heard about it.
So what happens then when, and I'm just using celebrities because celebrities often talk about it, right? Where it's like, I wanted this so bad. I wanted it so bad. I got all the fame. I got all the things, and then it all crumbled down.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, so there are a couple of things. One, you could have made a bad deal. Because, like, for example, if you're going to summon a demon, because there are plenty of other kinds of spirits to summon, but like, you're going to summon a demon. Like, for example, there's one famous one, Belial from the Goetia. It's supposed to be able to make you a senator or something equivalently important. The implication is that thing is with you for your whole career, guiding you, helping you along the way. Now, if you do the ritual correctly, you have bound that spirit and forced it to be obedient to you and forced it to answer to you. But even then, they don't like that's the way things are. They don't like that you can do this. That's why so many other options and people who are like, oh, I'm a demonolator, these things are my friends, rather than, creatures I'm meeting on an equal playing field, but with leverage. And I understand they're basically wild animals. Like my first teacher always taught me to handle them like you would a criminal. Like, you're like, I'm going to the guy who runs guns for a favor, and I understand that I can pay him and he will do the job and then leave me alone. But if I owe him, then it's a problem. And a lot of it is bad negotiating. A lot of it is, not being specific enough. And a lot of it too is not learning and not knowing when to disengage. Because, like, if somebody gives you a key and you can now open a door, that key is yours. But if they give you a key and they're like, I'm going to follow you through the door and I'm going to, have opinions about everything you're going to do on the other side of that door, and I'm going to, like, rough things up in your life because you didn't tell them, no, I don't need you anymore. Or because that's the thing, even if you look at the way the rituals are structured, it's like, you will come again when I call, but not until I call. Mm-hmm. Like, the thing cannot touch your life more than you have agreed if you make the agreement correctly. But that's the thing. These things are lost, and I think these creatures intentionally distort people and make them go, no, that's because, again, if you want to talk about the professionally offended group of people, for all of history, in pretty much every culture, you have relationships with non-human intelligences that run the gamut, right? Like, this is my familiar spirit. It is my friend. I give a shit. This is my patron spirit. It gives a shit about me. This is this thing. This is a guardian angel. These are ancestor spirits. These are elementals that I like. And then there's like, and these are more chthonic or demonic spirits that, like, you can get a friendly relationship with, but it is still like being friends with someone who makes their living doing crime and bad crime. Like, and anyone who's ever been friends with a criminal of that kind knows that they can sometimes be very loyal to you, but their loyalty takes the form that they believe it should take.
And let's elaborate just for a second on this. It's like, for one, I realize on a mundane level, there's almost like excitement and edginess, probably when we were younger, but like to a certain extent, especially if you have like a very normie or boring life, to be around people who find themselves in shady industries, who have shady morals. Again, it's some kind of bad girl, bad boy complex still, right? Like, that lingers in us, or I don't know. The problem is with shady people in shady industries is that they legit operate for their own benefit. And if you are not part of that beneficial equation anymore, they'll, without a blink, happily turn on you too.
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real. And it's kind of funny because it's all very similar. And again, I'm not over here saying don't engage with these things, but it's all about engage with them smart. You know what I mean? Like, understand that, like, this is a contractor, essentially, that you were hiring to do a very potentially dirty job. And then you want to wash your hands of it and keep it pushing. It's one of the reasons why I often tell people, like, yeah, engage with these things, but then disengage as soon as you get the thing that you wanted, and then keep the thing that you wanted. Because sometimes when people's lives fall apart with this, because again, Occam's razor, the most obvious answer is they didn't understand how to keep what they called. Like, they didn't understand how to maintain that relationship or that career or whatever it is. And it fell apart because they fucked up. Like, they flew too close to the sun, And again, these spirits do not care. Like if you get one that is more kind-hearted, let's say, it may tell you like, no, I'm not going to give you that girl because there's no way you can keep her. Like it's just going to hurt you and you shouldn't bother. And you should. Now, again, I'm not saying you need to listen to these things either. I'm a big fan of like, you are sovereign in your life.
Discernment,
There's something that you can't handle. You can just get better and then be able to handle it. But these more demonics, they don't care what you can and can't handle. They're just doing what their contractor do.
Why would someone? I'm going to ask a real deep life question. Basically, is bad? You using air quotes? Is bad energy stronger than good energy? Because why would someone choose to engage in spirits that do not necessarily have your best interest to obtain something versus spirits that do have your best interest?
It's faster.
It's faster.
It's faster and initially much stronger. But it's like there's analogs to mundane life, right? Like how do you make money the fastest? Be a drug dealer. Just straight, like literally, if someone was like, Alex, how do I become a millionaire in 6 months? I'm like, be a really successful drug dealer. Not again, allegedly CIA. I'm not doing blah blah. But like, but or it's like for example, if someone was like, look at how many women are like becoming millionaires on OnlyFans at 19. But again, everyone who's ever been around shady industries knows the saying: fast money becomes long problems if you're not smart. Like I have known, for example, a drug dealer who never got high on his own supply, who was in it for 2 years, disengaged, laundered that money, and is perfectly fine. If you're the kind of person who can keep your head on straight, then you could, in theory, thrive in that. If you're the kind of person who gets high on your own supply, then you couldn't. And this is true in any even slightly spicy industry. Are you focused on the mission? You know what I mean? But the thing is, just like in life, like mundane life, being bad, breaking the rules, doing these things gets you where you want to go faster. It doesn't always get you there cleaner. But if you can navigate it, if you're like, no, I'm good, I got this, and if you do, then that may be what you want. But also sometimes the good way can't get you there. Like sometimes your life circumstances, whatever they happen to be, you can't do it. Because sometimes, using spirits, for example, some of them will just say no. They'll tell you like, you shouldn't want what you want.
That's like a purity or whatever.
Sometimes, but sometimes they'll say something like, like for example, you go to an angel and you're like, I want this partner or this job or this kind of person. And they'll go, no, actually, you should want this kind of person, because if you find this kind of person that I'm telling you to want, then you're gonna have kids who will have kids who will have kids, and those kids will actually solve, like they'll cure a disease or something, because they think about things in a big picture, long term, and they don't give a fuck about you.
Right.
They care about things, and you're like, but I don't want that, hypothetically, and they're like, well, but that's better for the world, and you're like, but I don't want this. It's again very similar to the mundane thing. It's better for society in the world if everybody plays by the rules. But anyone who's ever owned their own business will tell you, I can't get what I want by playing by the rules, by doing the same thing everyone else is supposed to do. So it is the razor's edge of like, can you handle it? Because, it's doing things the nice, wholesome, and clean way benefits people whose lives are already better than average. Have already put themselves there, because it's like you'd see a lot of like Jewish Kabbalists or like lodge magicians like the Golden Dawn, who would be like, oh, before you even learn this stuff, you should already be 40 years old, a successful professional in your field, married with kids. And the response to that is like, okay, cool, but then what else do you need? And then it's like, well, spiritual development. You're like, okay, fair. But what if I'm 14 years old, from a poor family, like a lot of people who I know who started this, they wanted to change their lives no matter what. And they were willing to take a gamble that magic was real because everything was so bad. My life wasn't like this, but I've known people who did this for that reason. And some people are just like, I know for a fact I can't have what I want without doing something crazy. And you know, in other industries, nobody cares. Nobody looks at a musician and goes, oh yeah, you shouldn't do the crazy thing to become the, you have to step out of the norm. You know, business owners, artists, you know, fighters, even. Like that is, you want to talk about like, does the bad energy get shit done? Violence, naked force, to quote Starship Troopers, has solved more conflicts and problems than anything else in the history of our universe. Not even just mankind, but everything. Yeah, there you go. But that's the thing. But there's smart violence, there's strategic violence, there's calculated surgical violence, and then there's inner retard stupidity, right? There's, yeah, you could fight that cop, you're fine. You know, that doesn't get you anywhere. But like, okay, I'm going to headbutt that guy who's aggressing on me because he leaned forward too close. That might get you everywhere. You know what I mean? That might help you. Again, it's about picking your battles and strategically placing, you know, explosive charges, right? Like it's doing that. But yeah, no, aggressive energies get shit done faster.
That inner retard is so much fucking fun. I need you to talk more about that.
Well, no, it's just the thing. Everyone's got it, right? Like, and it takes various forms, right? Like, have you ever seen, like, for me, an inner retard is like, I'll watch like a martial arts movie and I'll go, I could do that. And I know I can, but I'll be like, you know, or like, if you're like for example, I have a really good friend, she'll watch like gymnastics and she has had no gymnastics experience, but she's like, in her heart, she's like, I could probably do that. Like that's how it starts. And in a way, you need the inner retard to like dream and yearn and do things in life and be, you know, be better and all that. But again, it's when it gets too high. Like, I'll give you another example, right? People who buy really, really wide pickup trucks. Like, again, big truck enthusiast. But like, if you buy a wide, like specifically like a
dually.
Yeah, a dually or like something like a Ford Raptor, right? Like it's just a little wider than it should be, and you're like, yeah, this parking garage won't be a problem. That's an example of like an inner retard moment where you're like, are you good enough at navigating that vehicle? Are you sure?
Oh my God.
So the inner retard is also like, I'm gonna buy that vehicle and I'm never gonna practice parallel parking. I'm just gonna think it's a two-door sedan, and I'll be fine.
This like, is so good.
All the backup cameras and 360 view cameras in the world aren't gonna help you if you suck. You know what I mean? Like,
I also like right now. I feel this is so fucking good. Like, so well, obviously everyone knows how I live, and now, but I still get my Christian Louboutin red bottom like newsletters. I'm like, I should get those shoes. Can never wear them. Can't even get to the car with these shoes because I live in the rural place, right? Like even the floor, the moment you get outside is not even. And I'm like, I should get those shoes.
No, but the thing is, that's the thing. The inner retard. I mean, advertising really jumps in and controls the inner retard a lot too. Like, you got to be aware of what's pulling on it. Like to know the inner retard is to know yourself, because that's when you're gonna get got. That's when you're gonna get influenced, right? Like, you know, but you need the inner retard. That's the thing that makes you go, I'm gonna ask out that girl. I'm gonna start that business. I'm gonna do, because on some level you have to believe in yourself. But it's when it's when it like just defies any kind of logic. And but the thing is, you have to feed it a little bit. Like, that's the thing. It's why, like, you know, it's why, like, occasionally I'll buy a sword just to have another sword. I am probably not going to get in a sword fight in my life. I'm more likely to shoot somebody. Or just like even like the knife fighting thing. I'm probably not going to be in a situation where I actually have to use that, I hope. But like, you're like, yeah, I could do this. I could be that guy, you know, I could be that guy. Like, it's good to feed that a little bit in yourself, just so you have enough of it to keep going, but not too much of it to do something fucking terrible.
Well, and the byproduct is that for one, you're having a lot of fun and you're learning an actual skill. Like you're getting the byproduct, you're getting fitter because you're doing this like weird knife fighting hobby now.
Yeah.
So like it net positive.
Yeah, it does help. It does help. But even like buying stuff you don't need, right? Like for example, if you're like, I'm gonna buy those shoes, that might just make you happy, and like fuck it. If you have the disposable income and it doesn't matter, cool. But like, it's that balance, because again, a person with no inner retard doesn't do anything. But it's when it becomes the outer retard. Or to quote Tropic Thunder, you never go full retard, right? Like you don't, that's the thing. I mean, you can go half retard and be okay. It's kind of like, like it's kind of like if you're talking to somebody, like you're talking to Alex Jones, for example. Alex Jones will occasionally go half retard, and he'll make it great, but he never goes full retard. He might be telling you about lizard people and DMT elves and adrenochrome harvesting, but the man never goes. I wonder what that would even look like. I would love to sit down with him and be like, what does your inner retard tell you to do that you don't do? Like, it kind of reminds me of when I was much younger. I would just like I had like no internal monologue. I would just say the most out of pocket shit. And my father once said to me, like, I wonder what you don't say. Like, I wonder how bad what you don't say is. I was like, well, it's pretty bad.
Oh my God. It's so funny. Why my husband is such a better person than me. So we're either watching a movie or we're seeing something happen, and bless him, and he says something like, I hope that person's day is ruined. And I'm like, I hope that person falls on a fucking cactus and like gets ragged back and fucking forth. And he's like, and that's the shit that I'm still saying out loud, and the shit that I'm not.
Well, it's kind of funny that so I don't know if you know who Mitch Horowitz is. He's a new thought author. He writes a lot about like manifesting your reality and stuff. And I actually kind of like some of his takes because, that shit does work if you do it correctly. But one of his takes that he has, and again, like this man is living his own life. He is his own person. He is very successful. Like I've got a lot of respect for what he's accomplished. But one of his takes that he has that I just cannot do is he's like, avoid cruelty in your thoughts and your words. And again, that may work for him, and that's wonderful for him. But I am a fucking hater when it comes to certain things. I fucking thrive on it sometimes. Like there are just times when I'm like, I love to hate certain things. I love to hate certain ideas, people, concepts. There's this thing, it fuels me when I'm just like, it's kind of like, when the Kendrick Lamar clip came out, like I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you talk. I hate the way that you walk. I hate the way that you dress. And I'm like, yeah.
I have that with poor people.
Shit.
By the way, not to be confused with broke people, because I've been broke many times in my life. I've never been fucking poor.
There is certainly a mindset difference. I do agree with you there, but like it just like
the way you laughed.
No, that tickled me. It did. But like no, but that's the thing. You have to be aware of the kind of people that you just fucking like for me, it's like the hardcore Reddit atheist type where, because on one hand, like, yeah, okay, if you're a professional sorcerer or whatever, like you're going to be a little bit polarizing, and there are people out there who no matter what, they'll never try it, they'll never believe in it, they'll never get it to work for them. Cool, whatever. Like I accept that. Not everybody needs to know this is real. And in fact, I would rather most people don't, because it's an unfair advantage I like exploiting in the world. But it's the people who will sit there with their own smug sense of self-importance. Usually they're a fucking midwit. Like they're just smarter than average, but they're not actually smart. So they're smart enough to understand what actually smart people say, and they'll parrot it back. And they're well, actually, like, well, actually, Karl Marx had some good ideas, and actually, like, Stalin wasn't a bad guy. Like Pol Pot was decent, actually. Those types. But they will have this just massive focus on, well, if magic real, why bad thing happen? Like, oh, you have a cold? Guess your magic wasn't good. And I'm like,
I see.
I want the worst for you. Like, I want to real, and there are some people who like have fallen into this category, and I did not cause this, but I've like seen their lives like years later on social media, and they're falling apart. I'm like, fucking good. Like, I hate you so fucking much for the things you choose to believe. Like, I just,
real talk.
And don't get me wrong, that's only one group of people that I'm just like, I love to hate you.
Yeah, I have that with leftovers. I love feeling like the constant affirmation of how better I am and my life is compared to leftover is such like it's like an instant happiness.
I mean, well, it's really, when you look at the question of like how, like, if even to speak of happiness, how happy are you in your day-to-day life versus the people who hate you? And this is a thing that like I think successful people tend to ask themselves a lot, and for good reason. Like, I wake up and not every day is perfect. Some days you're like, fuck, I got a deadline, I got this client, I got whatever. And but a lot of days I wake up and I'm like, fuck yes, didn't have to wake up, no alarm, didn't need it unless I had to be up for a certain planetary time or something. But generally, like, I do not go to somebody.
But then you got to wake up. Then you didn't have to.
But I don't go to someone else's place of business and clock in and sell my time for a pittance. Like, my time is whatever I choose it to be worth, and I can go do the things I want to do. Like, one thing I did probably 6 months into being self-employed was I went to this overpass in my city during rush hour, and I just watched cars in gridlock, and I was like, it's not me. It will never be me. Like, unless I have somewhere I want to be, I don't have to be anywhere. And I got this way basically, and again, like and again, said with full fucking confidence, I got this way by being right. I got where I am by being correct about how I viewed the world. Pressure tested my beliefs aggressively. Because again, if I'm wrong, I'm more than happy to be wrong, but I gotta be wrong. You got to prove it on me. You know what I mean? But when it comes down to just the misery in some people's lives, and again, like, if your life is not where you want it to be, I and a lot of the very successful people I've become friends with over the last 3.5 years, especially, they're more than willing to help you. They're more than willing to say, oh, this is the training you need to get, and this is the guy you need to talk to, and this is the thing you need to watch, and these are the steps you need to, the action steps you need to take to get where you want to go. Like, I want to see people do well, but it's when people are more concerned about choosing frailty and the slim comfort it provides than choosing to be happy. It's like, and a lot of it too is choosing not to understand the world as it is, because you have to want to be happy more than you want to be morally correct. Like, you have to want to win more than you want to be told you're a good person or you're with the right opinions or whatever. It's like, and again, there's always some new thing you have to say to be a good person. There's like, it's like, and honestly, it's funny because if you stop following it for a couple of months and you come back and look, the thing has changed, and you're like, oh fuck, like I thought everyone cared about the other thing, and now it's this new thing. It's like, and sometimes it gets fucking ridiculous. Like, I remember the whole Queers for Palestine thing, and you're like, but they would murder you.
What? Stop bringing your fucking logic.
but I mean, that one always vexed me. I'm like, but they kill you. Like, why would you help people that want to hurt you? I've never understood that. And hey, it is what it is. I mean, as far as the Middle East is concerned, I just hope both teams have a good time. but truly though, it's funny because there are people who are just, they wake up every day and they want something to be upset about rather than something to to celebrate. And I think it's a personality trait. Like I think it's a genetic predisposition, because there have always been miserable fucking people who just, nothing is ever good. But I think that the propaganda mill feeds that in people.
I'm not sure if it's I personally don't think it's a genetic disposition. I think it's a um behavior slash personality trait that unless interrupted rewards itself, right? Because it's the only mechanism that feeds on its own, that creates its own drug, which is adrenaline or cortisol or whatever, and we then get addicted to it.
Yeah, no, you make a fair point. I mean, because I've definitely noticed some chronically offended, chronically upset people, and they wake up and they're looking for it.
Yeah,
like they're looking for for the next thing.
Mhm.
I'm honestly quite the opposite. Like I do I mean I do have certain news sources, mostly psychotic YouTubers that I follow, who will give me the news as whatever. But I don't look at that every day. I don't. Like there are some days when I'm like, I don't care what's happening in the world right now. I care what's happening in my industry and in certain certain financial markets that maybe I'm affected by.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, like I don't care about the new, soup of the day that people are offended by. Like a good example, right, is I was actually kind of late to the party with the Sydney Sweeney ad thing. Have you
I haven't gotten on it at all.
Okay, so basically, American Eagle decided to put like a conventionally attractive woman in their ads, and their
American Eagle is a beer,
a jean company.
Oh, okay.
Like a clothing company. They put a conventionally attractive woman in one of their ads, and their stock skyrocketed because everyone else is putting, they're trying to like fill diversity hire quotas.
Leftovers. They're putting leftovers in their ads.
Right, but it's one of those things where you're like, okay, shock and awe. People have ugly fatigue, is what it is. Like people.
Oh, 100%. Like, ugly people shouldn't be in our commercials. The fuck?
well, that's kind of the thing. I mean, it's funny because Sydney Sweeney, the actress, she's certainly a very attractive woman. But the reason why people like her is she looks accessible. Like she doesn't look impossibly beautiful.
Like a girl next door.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And that's also the thing that they play up in the ad. Like she it's like the hood of a car up, and she's like fiddling with the engine, and then she puts the hood down, and she walks around looking all good, and you're like, it's a very American thing as well, because it's a muscle car, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what make and model, but she's fucking with it. And then, but she says something, and this is brilliant marketing advertisement because it's designed to piss people off. And she goes, "Our genes," because it's upon genes and then genes like genetics. And she's like, "Our genes determine what we look like, how we act, and everything. And my genes are good. I have good genes." And she's blonde and blue-eyed, so it's pissing them off because they're like, "This is a racial dog whistle and it's Nazi propaganda." And I'm like, "No, it's designed to piss you off because engagement." Clicks make money, so you're gonna hate watch this ad, and then the people who just want to see a hot girl do stuff are gonna happy watch the ad, and the company's stock skyrocket. It's brilliant, double-edged marketing. Like it's great,
genius, yeah.
But the thing is, a lot of people are just mad because it's like she's just an attractive woman, like. And again, this is not like if you look her up, unless this is like your absolute type. She's not the hottest girl you've ever seen. But you look at her and you're like, yeah, I mean, I would. But the thing is, it's kind of funny because there was this article that was written that a friend of mine showed me that was trying to denounce it. And it was like, she exudes this effortless, low maintenance girl next door femininity. And I'm like, well, I already liked it. You don't need to sell me on it harder. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to sell me on that shit harder. But the thing is, a lot of it does.
I can only get this hard.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, but it's really a situation where you look at it and you're like, I don't know why this is shocking to people. I don't know why this is so shocking that people are just tired of being told to like things that they just don't. Where it's like, okay, there's this person who the majority of people don't find physically attractive. We're just going to keep spamming you with it until I think you can. Now, I will say beauty trends are influenced by propaganda, but there's clearly a wall. There's a wall you cannot push.
And I think they, whoever they is abstractly, they miscalculated that because they used a propaganda like with music. Like you can play shitty music over and over again and it will catch on, right? Like there's no wall to that.
Right.
That doesn't work for visual stuff.
Well, right, because we're more naturally sonically literate than we are visually literate. So like as someone who's like using the guitar playing and photography as examples, harmony in music is it's super organic. Like you know if something is on key or in tune. You just know. But when it comes to like visual arts, like you have to be taught perspective and lighting and things because you don't organically know it, but you do organically know what viscerally activates you.
Yeah.
Right? Like what you are. Because again, I say this all the time to students, you cannot negotiate desire. Mm-hmm. You either want something or you don't. Mm-hmm. And you cannot make yourself want something that you really don't. You can make yourself want something more that you only want a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, you know, if you don't like exercise, you can learn to at least appreciate it.
Sure.
Right. But if there's something you find viscerally, physically unattractive, I don't personally believe any propaganda in the world, aside from like CIA waterboarding, Clockwork Orange type shit done to you individually, is going to change that. Agreed. And so you see a lot of ad campaigns being like, look, another person that nobody wants to fuck aside from
another ugly person.
Like, you know, buy our stuff. And then it's like, look, a woman that 90% of you would bang. And everyone's like, yep. But it's almost like a sigh of relief in a way. Like as a dude, when I watch media, a lot of the time, you know, if you keep seeing media where there just aren't that many attractive women in it, it's fine. It doesn't mean the story's gonna be bad or it's gonna be awful. But when you don't see it for a while and then you see it all of a sudden, it's like your body has this somatic nervous system relaxation where you're like, oh, cool. Mm-hmm. I missed that.
Yeah.
I remember that. You know, and it's the same thing where you see that and you're like, yes. And this is the you know, and people, of course, they decide to watch this jeans commercial, and there are people who are weeping. I watched a compilation of like people's reactions to it online. Hilarious. Which, by the way, also, I will never understand. I'm going to set up my phone. I'm going to push record. I'm going to cry and have a negative abreactive emotion. I'm going to push stop on the recording. I'm going to edit the recording so you don't see me putting the phone up. And then I'm going to post it online. I never understood the psychopathic idea of taking all of those steps just to look like a fucking coward. Like I never in my life, I will never get it. I don't understand putting your frailty out there for everyone to see. It is not good. It is a really embarrassing thing. And everyone who's ever done it should feel bad.
And we should bring back shame.
We should bring back shame. I don't know about you. It never left me. I mean, I will shame plenty of people. But the thing is, it's like I just don't get it. Like, I don't get like this 16-second piece of media ruined countless people's days because they were so unaware of themselves that they got affected by clever ad campaign stuff that was designed to just poke and prod them. Like,
I have to see it now.
Again, you're gonna watch it and you're gonna go, that was clever. I see what you did there, and then it's gonna move just right out of your head because it doesn't matter. And the funniest thing about the whole situation to me was watching people have this rage about it, this like visceral, violent reaction to this thing, and you're like, you are so tiltable. Like, you're so like, it's just funny because, like, you know, we all have things that we feel strongly about, but it's about not being tiltable. Like, for example, to use the Reddit atheist example of the people I fucking hate.
Wait. Can you pause for a second? I need to pee so badly.
Do your best.
Okay, you stay. Wait, I'll be right back.
She's gone. I wonder. I see the dog moving. I see the shadow of the animal moving, and I wonder which dog it is. I also wonder how long she's gonna take. Maybe she's the fastest gun in the West.
Hi, Booby. I'm back. So I had to pee so badly. Yes.
Well, here's the thing. I was told once by a proud Slav that Slavic women don't pee. They fucking piss. And that shit sounds like frying chicken. It's so wet.
Okay, so the Reddit.
Yeah, but even like the people I don't like, I don't let them tilt me. Because like, you can find all manner of things on like YouTube. Like, for example, there are so many videos on YouTube about people being like, people are selling spells on the internet. How fucking goofy and lame. Let's make fun of them. And I'm waiting for the day that my Instagram shows up on one of those things. And honestly, when that happens, I'll be like, I made it. You just gave me free advertising. Like, I'm not going to be tilted.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm right. I know the shit works.
Right.
And if that person doesn't, okay, cool. But also, like, I'm self-aware enough to be like, not everyone's going to think and feel the same way as me. And there are people out there who are going to hate me and what I represent just as bad as I hate them and what they represent. That's the thing. I'm not a hypocrite. Like, I understand that if I'm going to throw some negativity out there, it can be cast back upon me in all ways. And that's the game. Game is game. But like, whenever someone is so easily tiltable that their whole week can be ruined by being faced with something that's like that long in the scheme of things, it really goes to show a level of fragility in a person that you're like, this is not good. Like this makes for a terrible life.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's also, I find myself, and I have these conversations with my husband often. And yesterday was one of them again because of the dog topic. Right, like, us happy people, we try to do this like rationalizing. Like, we do this like, imagine what type of person would do blah 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 blah, right? Imagine what type of person you would be to be so miserable that a ad, apparently from Jeans, like legit upsets you. And it's one of those things like you can't imagine, because there is no logical steps to get to that place. It's a complete other fucking universe.
I mean, you make a good point. I mean, I've tried this. I've done this thought experiment. I can imagine it up to a certain point.
Sure.
But the thing is, what I do is I end up thinking about like myself at my worst period of my life, where I was the most tiltable, I was the most reactive, I was the most, aggressive, and I'm like, I was a teenager. Like,
yes.
I was a child essentially.
Right.
And, but also like, it's okay to be that way when you're 15.
Right.
Like, that happens. But when you're that way when you're 40.
Well, yeah, and yes, and like, and I had a late, like, let's call them bandwagons, like with my my late feminism and anti-men. And like and I can actually trace back the steps that it took to get me to that point, right? Mm-hmm. So like, shady industry, bad experiences with men, whatever, need something to kick at the world, right? Men is a great one. So you get there. Then the moment the feminism surpasses that, they lost me, right? Because now they're like angry at each other. I'm like, wait, I thought we were like, what we're doing here, right? So, but with these people, again, so let's say, and I'm just using my example because it's a tangible one, right? Like, you care for animals a lot. I love that. That's a great thing, right? Then you become some kind of righteous animal activist because there's a lot of bad people doing bad things to animals out there. Still, I get that, right? But then you bump into someone who has a breed that you don't agree with, and now you wish bad upon that person. Like, there are so many steps between those that I can't get.
No, I can feel you on that one. I mean, there is just this need in people like that. And again, it's a thing that, like, if you ever want to have a fulfilling life, you need to kill that in yourself if you have it.
Yeah.
If you ever, and again, this goes beyond sociopolitics. This is like literally survival, personally, living a good life, thriving rather than just consisting or continuing.
Yeah.
Like, you have to kill that part of yourself, because it is. And I've known people, right, who were in those sectors, in those groups of people, and they got burnt out. They're like, I just couldn't keep up with every new word or new rule or new this or new that, so I took a break.
They turned on me.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too. They will eventually. Now, purity spirals exist on both sides. I will point that out.
Absolutely.
But there are people who will be like, oh yeah, Alex, I was part of this group, I was part of this thing, and I just took a break. I took a break for 6 months. I went, cold turkey on social media. I did whatever. And they're like, I'm never going back. And it's not like they went to the opposite side of things. They're just like, I'm so fucking tired of being unhappy. It's where the whole touch grass thing comes from. And again, this is in so many examples. Like, to use a non-left leaning example, all the people who are sitting on the internet and going, no woman will love you unless you are an 8-foot tall werewolf billionaire who loves only her, and despite being a CEO of 7 companies, you somehow have all the time in the world for her, because that happens ever. It's over. You're never going to find love. You're never going to be this thing. And they fall into this similar trap where it's like, just because I'm in a dry spell right now, or because I'm, autistic as fuck and I don't know how to not be, because I wasn't socialized beyond that, or I don't want to give it a shot or try harder, or I'm unwilling to go to the fucking gym. They will get in this similar. It's horseshoe theory, right?
No, for sure. And again, Christianity is a right-wing thing, like, right, where the purity of Christianity kicks, like, oh, you're kind to a person who is like a sinner, right? Like, and now you're not Christian enough. So again, this is there's behaviors everywhere.
Yeah, there's definitely that. But the thing is, when you hit a purity spiral like that, you just spiral down. And that's where the whole touch grass thing comes from. Because, like, for example, if you are one of those people who's like, oh, I'm never going to have whatever, or I'm always offended by whatever, or I'm always upset by whatever, or no one's good enough, and you just disengage for 6 months if you can, and you go live in the world. Like, I do this with certain clients of mine, even, where they're like, oh, I'm 5'6" and I'll never find love. And I'm like, okay, homework time. On Saturday, when the weather is nice, walk around your downtown area and count the number of men who are your height who are holding hands with a woman. Once you pass 10, you can go home. And usually they're like, yeah, I passed 10 in the first 3 hours. I'm like, right, so what did we learn? The world is actually just not that bad. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, like, a person's problems aren't real either, right? Like, sometimes, even if their problems aren't my problems, I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, people don't have difficulties they need to overcome. That's part of the game. But, like, once you go out in the world and you take a deep breath of, like, real air, and you're not in an echo chamber, and you're not surrounded by the psychic egregoric field of, because that's the thing, there is a psychic component to all this. All men are evil, all women are awful, my religion's the only good one, right? Like, all this stuff. And once you disengage from that, and again, it can happen to anyone if you're around it for long enough, but then when you go out in the world, you're like, actually, things are pretty good, maybe, and I can probably overcome this. But actually, on that note, though, speaking of overcoming, I have a client in a little bit, so I must go and prepare for that.
Hell yeah. Epic in 2 weeks again?
Yep.
See you in 2 weeks. Everyone, rich and hydrated with your favorite magician, Alexander Moore.
Love it.